Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are headed into match number 2 for our third play day, week 1 for Siege Cardinal League. Next up on the docket will be Villa. Interesting map to come out here, and I think this is definitely going to be a good one. I've heard a lot about Troll Team 6, and they've got a couple of pretty renowned players in the community. cLaw, they've been around for a pretty long time, and so that definitely gives me the impression that they've got a little bit of history and they've been together practicing and getting all of that good coordination, teamwork, and chemistry built together. What are your thoughts, Chief, as we head into this map?
I don't think there's a better team to have in game number 6 than Troll Team 6 versus cLaw. And what you talked about, these players are actually well known, especially Daddy Derek, you'll see on the side of Troll Team 6. If you're at all familiar with Rainbow Six Siege, you've definitely heard us talk to it once on Twitter in your life. And the same thing with cLaw Central can be said too. I mean, let's be honest, given the fact that they were one team that we actually streamed when we were testing out during season quals, as well as they're just well known throughout the season. But let's hop over to Villa. And one thing I love about Villa is we've been seeing a lot of different bands. And one thing that kind of pioneered the entire Maverick as well as Thatcher bands was here on Villa. Now, I'm a big fan of utilizing Thermite to place on the floor, so Maverick really isn't a big pick for me. And honestly, it kind of surprises me when teams ban Maverick because every floor is soft. So all you do is you place a Thermite charge about, we'll call it 3 millimeters away so it doesn't get electrocuted, and you have a free foot-sized hole, and you don't have to do anything for it. You don't have to waste frag grenades. You don't have to waste Thatchers. You don't have to waste Callies. And that's something I don't know why more teams don't do. But let's move over to the defensive bans. We're most likely to see Amira. Echo's been getting a lot of bans now that his quarantine has been lifted. But honestly, Maestro gets so much play here on Villa that he's probably a better choice than Echo, at least in my humble opinion. And the other operator that was getting a lot of bans, especially when Echo was in his quarantine, was Valkyrie. She provides so much information, and it's going to be a Goyo for our fourth ban. Utility consumption meta will just be slowed just a little bit.
So you talked about teams using that thermite trick we see where you will blow up the floor and it does damage to the wall to open it up without having to deal with any of that denial utility. One issue I see with using the Maverick in place of that is it can kind of take a lot of time, and you mentioned with the soft floors that works both ways. A defender can just as easily as you will thermite the floor go below and nitro you, and after your Maverick is dead, if you've got your other hard breacher busy or not in play at all, that is going to be all of your hard breaching capabilities out the window. And it's incredibly risky in order to make that decision. We will be heading to Aviator first, and an interesting pick to see on this site is the Pulse. We don't see a lot of Pulse played on AVG for the sole reason that, frankly, he's just not very useful. The only real reasoning I can see why you would play a Pulse is to have him sit inside of Gun Vault. That way he can use his heartbeat detector, look out into 90 short, which is that hallway we see that heads from 90 corner over into Red Landing, as well as possibly playing him maybe more near the bar so that you can look and find any intel on people inside of Top of Study stairs, or possibly even inside of Study itself. Another thing to look at, we've got kind of a balanced operator lineup, I would say, from the offense. We've got the Habana, who sees a lot of play here on Villa, especially because of how easily she can get the vault wall open. Just using her Kairos to get upside down on the window of the classical wall, and just use her gadget to get that open without having to fully commit to the building.
It's extremely dangerous to put Pulse on an island. You can see him hiding in red stairs, but if you move him over to Piano, if you move him over to Art, or even to the bigger site, that is Library, he is on an island by himself with 0 refrag potential. The best place you can put him is actually downstairs in basement. And look, he currently is downstairs in basement. He's going to provide his team with so much information here. And with little liability to
Bomb
his
located
own
by
life,
attackers.
most teams don't put or actually actively drone basement. They just have flank drones watching the doors. Now, as he starts moving up to pantry, his life could be forfeit because there's most likely an attacker sitting there. But this is a very fast attack. They've already confirmed that all of north side of the map is fully in their control, and they're going to begin moving up to 90. This real estate acquisition coming out by Troll Team is perfect, all being spearheaded by Daddy Derek.
Yeah, so taking a lot of early control of 90, it looks like, as well as Red Landing as well. We've got cLaw here, Sophia, the Nomad, and Ash on 90 corner, and the Pulse could look to flank up through Red Staircase. It looked like he was just at the bottom there. Utility going to come out from the Ash. That'll be her flashbangs and one of her breaching charges used to remove that shield from 90 long and possibly push that player out of position. The Pulse gets droned out, though he will actually spot the drone, so that won't be any opportunity for a free kill. Sophia, though, she's going to look to completely try and push that Pulse. The problem with that is he's rotated out, gone to hide, and he's going to continue to be a thorn in their side, as well as causing a significant time sink. As long as the Pulse is allowed to roam and hide near the basement, the attackers are always going to have to be worried about where he is when he's coming up. Though, if he just decides to stay down here the whole round, he could eventually be caught in a bad situation where he's not able to help his teammates and is really not given any opportunity to put an effect on the round.
Now, he already utilized his Nitro, so it was on no target, but he's going to see the planter right now and elect not to shoot. A huge blunder, but it's not going to matter when you have an ult in hand. Thunder is going to punish that aggression and then attempted plant. But last name Taylor is going to put an end to that Jaeger, and that 416 will no longer be a factor in the round. 30 seconds left in this round, and it's anyone's game, especially with our M1 claiming the kill of KRI. And that's going to be Wamai, who already utilized most of his grenades and his pancakes, but it's going to be Thunder attacking onto the board, as well as Jacko, the man who's been off-site roaming. It's a 2v3 with only 15 seconds left in this round. The attackers are going to have to find big kills if they want to work out this round. It's going to be Derek doing exactly that, claiming the life of one, and now they're going to have to plant the bomb. But is there any denial coming out by the defense? All the toxic bags have been used, and there's only one Pokeball left in the side of Thunder, so he's going to have to utilize that ult if he wants to claim a life of anyone. It's going to be a post plant, and the positioning by the defense wasn't working out, and it's going to be baited using that SMG-11 and punishing Taylor. But it looks like it's going to be Daddy Derek rotating down to main hall as well as the piano to utilize vertical destruction. Remember, holes work both ways. He hears the audio cue of bait on the diffuser, but does he see his head? Yes, he does. He's going to shoot a bullet in his direction, forcing bait away, but that's not going to be enough to stop the plant. Bait's going to relocate on his position and be safer here. It's going to be 3 seconds left. Daddy Derek is nowhere near it. It's going to be a missed shot. It's going to be Derek winning it out. How did he do it? What was the time left? What a clutch. What a play. Derek living up to his name.
Incredible there from Derek. He had a sliver of an opportunity to hit that headshot, and that's exactly what he did. He pulled the trigger, and with that, a 1v2 clutch victory. The post plant, absolutely phenomenal. He didn't try to play an aggressive angle and take two gunfights at once. He forced the defenders to come and challenge him while continuing to bait from below. One thing I want to talk about in the course of that round is the vertical play. While it helped Habana a lot during the post plant, in the earlier stages of the round, it was a significant overcoming factor, and the defenders, the way that they used it, just caused problem after problem. I think we saw maybe upwards of 3 or 4 attempted plants, but the Zofia, or whoever was in control of the diffuser, continued to have to get off of it, because as soon as they would go sit down in that default plant, there was somebody shooting up through the floor from below to stop it.
And that was the post-round coverage that cLaw was really trying to utilize. They had the pulse down there to prevent anybody from rotating. But remember, it's so important that holes work both ways. Those were preset holes by the defense to deny the plant. But as soon as the bomb was going down, well, Daddy Derek realized that. And that just comes down to coordination that Troll Team is known for. And again, what you were talking about earlier is this team has been playing competitive Siege for a long time, probably like 2-3 years, at least that's from my memory. And their coordination, their synergy showed in every single round. And Derek was the player who was last alive in that 2v1. but I don't think people realize that there was actually a flank drone right on landing, providing all the information to Derek. And actually, his original rotate was because of that. And then he got more information, and then, well, he rotated back, utilized vertical pressure, and that was perfect coordination. And here comes an aggressive peek by Jaeger, but that's just gonna get shut down. Ill-advised rotate, and the defense finds themselves at a man disadvantage, gaining nothing from it.
What a shot there, and Flaunson, he tries to peek and just gets dropped. Looks like we're going to be seeing a master bedroom closet take. We've got the frag grenade tossed out. And it looks like he wants to try to go aggressive here and push it. There is a player inside of the closet, and look at all of this utility firing in. The smoke, though, cLaw, he hits his shot on the Zofia to shut down Thunder. What a hit there, but he'll get traded back. It'll be the Castle to get one, though the Ash finds it in return, shutting down Bait. With so little time into the round, we've already had, 3-4 kills come out here, and it's a 4-on-2. Troll team, they have a massive advantage here, and if they play their cards right, they could snuff off the defense before they have the slightest opportunity to make a clutch happen.
4 players already find themselves 6 foot in the dirt. Make that now 5 players find themselves in the dirt. And was that a run out from KIR? No, I think he was just peeking aggressively on the window. Well, that's going to bring the defense just closer to equal man count. A +1 man count isn't a big deal, but what is a big deal is when you find yourselves in a 1v3 with 60 seconds left in this round. Jaiko has a huge hill to climb, and that SMG-11 is a very difficult gun to use, especially when you find yourself in a man disadvantage. But a brilliant shot by him is going to put the man that clutched round 1 out of this round. Still plenty of time left for either one of these teams to be successful. Nitro Cell has already been used, so that means the post plant is just going to be a little bit more difficult. You can't deny from underneath. And the attackers, I think they're very much aware of this as they start to rotate over to the Astro side. It's going to be a deer plant momentarily, and they're going to have to get aggressive. Jaiko knows this, but he's going to elect to go from underneath and use that M590 to shut down the plant. But it's just a little too late. He's going to do him for about 35 HP, but that's not going to be enough to finish it. It's going to be a post plant, and it's going to be a difficult one at that. The defense, or pardon me, the attackers knows that he is underneath, and he's going to have to push through one of these stairs. He's going to have to shoot the air jab, which can give away his position. He's going to get a little aggressive, shoot deep into master bedroom, but that was his undoing, and it's going to be a wonderful round out by the attackers.
Yeah, so close there, and it was really a nail-biter. The SMG-11 is the gun that can get a lot done in a quick gunfight, but when you've got to worry about so many different opponents and you have to try and retake the bomb site all at once, that's just too much responsibility for too little ammunition. A close attempt there. He was able to find one, though ultimately I think he made a tiny mistake rotating downstairs when he could have tried to push in through connector. Unfortunate there. I don't know exactly the positioning of that last remaining attacker other than the one who was obviously planting the diffuser, but in a situation like that, the decision that you make, your split second one there, you have to know what you're going to do. And ultimately, he made the wrong decision for that round, or so it seems. But with that round, we're going to be seeing Troll Team. They go up 2-0 so far on Villa. Their attacks have looked strong. And that last one, cLaw was really the playmaker. Starting it off, shutting down your Jaeger before he had an opportunity to waste any time or get any picks. Have to give it to him and really credit him for the startup on that round. And even more, he was able to collect an additional pick, which really began to leverage the man advantage in the favor of Troll Team that continued to exist throughout the course of the whole round.
I like this setup coming out by cLaw. It's kind of a setup that we saw when Villa first came into the meta, especially with coupled with Boyo, where you place a few shields here in Cubby, as I always refer to it as double windows too, some people like to call it, and then allows you to rotate back and forth and be very fluid with your defense. You couple that with an AVG extended hold, and it works very well. It really requires the attackers to fan out and utilize their utility efficiently. And if you utilize your utility badly, or you have a player die too early on, that's going to be to the detriment. But these castle barricades work both ways, and so far it's actually hindering the defense as they attempt to get aggressive in on. One thing I was going to mention is I actually prefer the 2 downstairs sites. We've been seeing them come in a lot more, and it's actually advantageous, very similar to reading room here on Cafe. But let's go back to this beautiful Italian villa as we find ourselves with 45 seconds spent.
You know, you talked about the castle setup that they are using inside of the master bedroom, and I'm a huge supporter of the extension there. I really enjoy seeing that strategy come out because once the attackers are able to get in the master bedroom, it's almost kind of a given. You know, the attackers, when they attack that bomb site, they're going to get in the master bedroom. So contesting it and electing to waste as much time as possible can really be super helpful. And forcing the attackers to come in through the south side, through Study, through Aviator and 90, I think puts the defenders in a much better position. You're able to take gunfights on two fronts, which ultimately, with time on your side, lends itself more to the defense.
That's a great point, my friend, and that extended roam is already working out well. 90 seconds burned, but it looks like it's not enough, especially given the fact that Ash is sitting and landing. She's perplexed by where she was being shot from. It looks like it's a deep flank coming up by Red. A terrible drone placement by her. She selects to stand in the middle of landing, but it's Jaeger who rotates away with his life and dishing out only 50 HP. That could have been a huge blunder by Troll Team, but it's just unfortunate missed shots coming out by Flunson. And that's going to even waste more time. Sure, you didn't get the kill, but that was 30 seconds for free. And the attackers have shown that they're very good on their executes. And what they're doing a very good job of right now is establishing the crossfires. They know that they have sight blocked off, but it's going to not matter when you can throw a Nitro Cell from underneath. And the first casualty of the round goes to your main entry fragger, who still had her utility in her back pocket. 35 seconds left, and it's going to have to be a big fight as these teams push into site.
So we've got multiple kills coming out here. It'll be Derek shutting down Bait. It's a 3-on-3. Nicolo able to find his second double kill in back-to-back rounds. On low health, he says no matter. Sophia, she's a gunner, and one player going down. It'll be up to Flanson. He'll have to rotate, but with only 10 seconds left, the attackers are going to be forced to plant. If he's able to figure out that position, it looks like he is. He has the intel, but missing the shot. He's hitting the beam. He can't collect the kill, and it goes down. The diffuser is successful. We've got 40 seconds on the clock. Sneaking up the red staircase. His teammate is down. He could provide some info on any player that chooses to rotate inside of Trick. Coming in through Statue, he's trying to take a gunfight with somebody inside the master bedroom. Though he is in a terrible position. Zofia and Nicolo peeking him from Trophy, and Taylor, he is still continuing to sit here inside of the master bedroom. Nicolo, he swings wide and gets the kill. It'll be Derek cleans up the other one, and they are able to take their third round victory. So unfortunate. He tried. He had the intel, the ping, but the bar through the floor. It stopped all of his bullets and gave Troll Team the ability to get that win.
cLaw is so close on every one of their defense, but they're just making small mistakes. And Troll Team 6 is doing exactly that. They're capitalizing on every single mistake, and those slowly snowball into an attacker win. And one thing I want to just be a little critical of cLaw for 1 second is their hold in Aviator games. It's very important to do that extended hold, as we talked about earlier, but you have to back up quickly, or not quickly, slowly. You can't relinquish too much control. And what we saw from cLaw Central was the fact that they completely relinquished control. As soon as they wasted 60 seconds, they just went right back to site. But instead, I would have liked them just to move back to 90, move one player up to landing. So that requires the attackers to waste more time, more drones, and more of their utility. But instead, they just did a full, retreat back, and it just didn't work out.
Take a look at this rotate. This is an interesting strategy here. We've got the impacts positioned so that you can just rotate freely from red into dining, and this is something I haven't exactly seen before. I imagine this is probably in service of what we're seeing in the living room. We've got an extension over there, the hatch open, as well as the holes being shot so that you can see into that area known as Mexico right there at the bottom of the Astro staircase. It's going to provide a really good sightline, and I'm interested to see how this is going to play out, what effect it'll have on the attacker's ability to take into the bomb site, and how the rest of cLaw plan to take and execute with this bomb site. It's an interesting strategy, though. We've got early positions being taken by the side of Troll Team. Could we be seeing a possible rush? got the Ying. I think anything can happen here. Look at this position from cLaw too. He's on the staircase. I think we might be getting ready to see this rush happen, and he's got the smoke canister. Oh no, here it comes, the Candela over the wall. The smoke plant gets ready though. cLaw shut down. Things might be beginning to go wrong.
And here it comes. 3 Candela charges go out, and it's going to be Taylor finding the board, but it's going to be Flonson immediately getting that back. And that's going to be your Ying off the board, the player who can see through all those flashbangs. But it's not going to matter when you find yourself in a post plant. When the defense has themselves in a man advantage, that actually might work out well for them. Nades are going to go out to force the defense to not get aggressive and not swing. And that's not going to matter, though. The attackers are getting even aggressive on their own. They're going to find 2 big kills of themselves, but the defense claws themselves right back. It's a 1v2 with 25 seconds left in this post plant. It's anybody's game, and the defense are going to have to do a tandem push together, and they're doing exactly that. The prone peek from Ash is not going to be good enough as Flonson gets a triple kill in the round and brings cLaw's first victory. A nice attempt from Troll Team 6, but the aggression, the rush just didn't work.
You gotta give it to Doc on that one. I mean, picking up a triple kill. The attackers, they had a good plan. They got the diffuser down, but you mentioned it. The over-aggression. The attackers, they didn't really need to take those gunfights, but mistakenly they did, and a round over and done with extremely quickly will give cLaw one on the board. 3-1 here on Villa. We've only got 2 rounds left to decide what the score will be at the half, and I think Troll Team, they're able to take another one. They're in an incredible position once we switch onto the defense for them.
Now, one thing that I was mentioning earlier is I think those downstairs sites are so advantageous. We were talking about this earlier. It's identical to reading room on Cafe. It requires the attackers to take vertical destruction, take vertical control, push through piano, and work their way down. Exact same ideology here. You either push planes and games, or you push master bedroom, force the defense down, and then execute upon sight. Or you have the secondary option, which Troll Team brought, is also a viable strategy on Cafe. Cafe is you rush through sight. You rush to have 2 options. You either go through pantry, or you go through laundry like we saw. And it worked almost. They got themselves in a post plant, but their post plant positioning was just poor. And honestly, the same thing can be utilized when you go to library. We've seen a lot of teams at the T1 level all the way down to the Team 4 level utilizing library because it requires vertical destruction. And cLaw, when they've lost 3 times on what we'll call the primary and secondary bomb sites, I would like to see them experiment more. They won the tertiary bomb site, so why not give the quaternary bomb site again?
Definitely, and I think cLaw, they had a great setup in that last round. In Troll Team, they saw it. They saw the extension and what the defenders really had planned, and they were just like, you know what? I see your setup, and we're just not going to do it. We're just going to go around it. We're going to push in through laundry, and it was, unfortunately, I think the right decision with the wrong execution. They had the good plan. I'd love to see, strategies like that. I like to call them bypasses, because what you're doing is you're bypassing the defender setup. We see it on Cafe, for instance, when you're defending reading and dining. A lot of teams struggle to clear out the top floor, so instead what you'll do is you just come in through train, you bypass the setup and get everything ready so that you can just execute the site and ignore everything that they've got set up. The wrong execution, like I mentioned, happening though, so maybe if they defend it again, they'll try that same strategy, though I would be surprised to see it. We've got an early setup though for Troll Team. They're getting into study. Everything is prepared, and look at this. We've got somebody inside the master bedroom. He was just waiting for the opportunity to peek. I'm not sure if that was... Oh, what was that angle? He came out the laundry door and collected onto the Nomad, or rather Sophia, sitting on the art storage balcony. That is rough for her.
The new Speedy Boy in Rainbow Six Siege showing why he's a good pick, and that new angle grip working out very well for Jaiko. And maybe this is exactly what cLaw Central needs, changing up the traditional op-player lineups, because Troll right now doesn't look like they understand how to push it. The last time they were here, the last time they attempted to push AVG, they did a more traditional north to south clear coming from master bedroom. But it's going to be a pure study execute. And one of the problems with the pure study execute is exactly what we see. The team stalling out. And you kind of need a lot of vigor. You need a lot of vim when you push this site. And this is exactly why. As more bodies fall for the attackers, I don't know if they're going to have it in this round. cLaw doing a wonderful job, especially when KRI finds 2 kills. But he's going to get shut down. Pardon me, that's Flon's going to get shut down. But but it's just going to be RY stuck in this 1v4. This is going to be a huge kill. He has to do the ace clutch if he wants to be successful, but there's 4 barrels trained on him right now. His life is forfeit, but no, Jaiko's just going to miss his shots. He's going to do some damage to RY and put him just under 30 HP. He'll die to 2 bullets, and he knows that as he QE spams all the way through maps, he inhales a lot of toxic babe, and that's going to be his undoing. No, it's going to be the bubble, putting him down. What a nice word, but for a very heinous thing, as he gets put down by a bubble.
We saw from the side of Troll Team, they had an incredible amount of utility dumped into the top of the study staircase, but even despite that, even, wasting all of the ADSs, getting rid of any possible utility, they were not able to remove that deployable shield. And I think that's what caused the real problem. We saw that when my spy was just able to come in through long and just, he just shut things down. He sprayed 2 of the, I believe it was possibly the Nomad and not the Sophia she got ran out of, so maybe the Nomad and the Sledge at the top of the study. And she actually, I have to give credit, she kind of saved her teammate Jaeger, though eventually we saw the Ash, Raimai, he just gunned him in a nice headshot there. That's going in the highlight reel, but anyway, with that round over, Troll Team, their earlier success has started to falter as cLaw, they start to react, and they've got a couple of tricks left up their sleeve before we end the half here. 3-2, and what do you think is up next for this final defense from the side of cLaw?
It's going to be a 3rd attempt to trophy, and every time cLaw has attempted trophy, they have lost. Now, to their credit, they have changed up their strategies, so I will give them that. They've done something different every time, and that's very big, right? The definition of insanity is attempting the same thing over and over again. So at least they're doing something different, which is a plus. But the problem is, it looks like Troll Team is very well versed at pushing these sites. We saw it the first time they attempted planes and games, they did a north-south take. This time they did a study, and while it didn't work out for them, that shows that they're comfortable utilizing different attack strategies. And given the fact that this is their 3rd time attacking trophy, and they've brought something different to the table every time they've attacked it, I don't believe this is the play coming out by cLaw. But hopefully the iteration and the derivatives of the strategy they've been using are changed just enough to throw Troll Team 6 off.
I think really the key to disrupting the strategy they've got here is the speed and aggression. Troll Team, it seems like, has been so far able to utilize the speed and aggression well. Oh no, Maestro! I talked about the speed and the aggression. He is completely caught off guard. You can't be on your phone when the round has begun, but that will happen, and he is shut down early. That is one of your most impactful players here. Thunder can do a ton of work. I mean, the Alda, that's one of the strongest guns on the defense, and so to have that go down early, going to be one huge problem. Niccolo went down, I'm not sure exactly. I think it might have been a floor angle. We didn't exactly catch that one, but he's going to be on low health for the remainder of this round, especially after withstanding rather than being rezzed by his teammate. 1 minute and 40 seconds as we prepare to execute into Astro. We've got the Ash ready. She charges down the stairs, spots the back of the player, but unfortunately doesn't hit him then, though she corrects to get the kill then, a headshot. She is just absolutely blitzing through this whole objective, removing utility, removing heads, all the same as we hit the 120 mark.
Just hold mouse 1, just hold mouse 2, as well as W. That's the key to getting frags, at least if you're RRY. And here comes the execute, but no, it's KRI shutting that down, but his refrag into bias is immediate. There's only 2 defenders left, and the attackers are very much in control this round. And here comes the momentary post-play with there's 3 seconds left on this bomb, but the coverage is impeccable by RRY as he shuts it down and finds himself a 3K in this round. A wonderful execute. And honestly, Troll Team is playing perfectly together. Their synergy, communication is A1.
I mean, you have to give it to Ash in that round. I've talked about his ability to make plays before, and he absolutely made a play and worked hugely in that round, coming in through Astro, shutting things down, removing all of that utility, and really being the spearhead that they lacked in previous rounds. With this victory in stunning fashion on the statuary bomb site, they'll end the half 4-2 now as we switch over. it'll be Troll Team 6, their first attempted defense on Aviator. And taking a look at the lineup as we prepare to see what Derek decides to 6-pick to, he's just going to stay on the mute. But these are some good lineups, and I'm really excited to see what strategies they've got prepared in order to finish it up on this first defense.
You know what I see, my friend? It's going to be Ayana returning for the thing. And again, we talked about it in game number 5, was how important she is. Because she essentially increases your drone economy by 5 extra drones, or potentially 7 if you maximize them. And that's 70% of your drone economy instantly increased. And in a game and a map like Villa, having more information is imperative. It also allows the attackers at cLaw to put more drones on flanks. And why that becomes important is a strategy that cLaw themselves employed in round number 1 is when they put their, well, the guy who can see through walls, the favorite man who's bald, on downstairs and basement, and that's why having those flank drones are so important. Colt is his name. I don't know why I totally forgot it for a half second, but sometimes having 3 brain cells can really hurt you. But moving back into this game, we're gonna have to see how cLaw Central elects them.
I'm seeing double vision because we've got a 4-stack ready outside a master bedroom, and it looks like we're going to be seeing, I wouldn't say it's necessarily a sneak rush, but an early setup here, and taking control of master quickly can definitely help you out. We've got Ash. She's just positioned inside a statue. She might actually look to take an early engagement coming into the top of Red Landing. I'm not sure who exactly that is. Oh, what a shot! Hitting the head. Flonson will just absolutely outgun cLaw and absolutely just cuts his head off. What a kill there to start this team out. Heading onto the drone now. He's had his fair share of the gunplay, and again, we're going to be seeing this 90 control. Though no deployable shield is a questionable decision. We'll have to wait and see what result that will have on the round as we continue to progress on in this one. Multiple players droning here, and that's definitely a good sign. Getting all of your utility, using it to the maximum capability. Definitely a good sign. We've got utility being shot into the objective. Jaeger peeks, but actually kind of at the wrong time. It's again Flonson. He loves holding these just pre-fire angles and waiting for a defender to run into his stream of bullets. KRI will go down at the hands of the Jaeger, and we're just going to be waiting on borrowed time to see if the attackers will finally figure out their execute.
8 warm bodies left in this round, plenty to make a successful execute, especially when flaunting is just, well, flaunting his skills and his, well, pure aiming ability. But it looks like it's going to be a leg Frank coming out for defense, and it might be cLaw aware of this, but no, Thunder's going to elect to rotate off that angle, which means a player rotating up might be able to snag a few kills as he pushes through top red. And it looks like through our God vision, he actually has moved up. No, indeed, it was actually Daddy Derek rotating back over to piano. But the vertical holes the attackers utilized is now going to be going against him.
Oh, no.
But it looks like Thunder has some type of information as a double push down into piano, trying to snuff out Derek. And he's going to find him head of one. And it's going to be Flonson again. A wonderful mechanical showing as more defenders continue to die. And it's going to be a 2v4 here. Wouldn't make that a 2v3 as there's a down but out player, but Bait's going to be brought out to life. It's now 1v4. Shots ringing out by both of these teams. It's momentarily a post play as Thunder's going to have to plant his bomb. Last name finds himself in a really bad position. Can Flonson go for the ace right now? He's just 1 kill away from it. Taylor's position is so well known. There's 4 barrels trained on him. He's trying to get aggressive, but his life is forfeited. Indeed it is, as Thunder snuffs out his life.
Wow, what a showing in that round. You know, we saw just previously, I believe, as soon as we can get the player names up, in the statuary offense, the last final for the first half, we saw Raimai was able to get a 4K on Ash. Well, in this one, Flonson answers back with a huge multi-kill of his own, gunning everyone and shutting down that smoke player, a crucial moment of that round in allowing the plant and the successful execution onto the bomb site. With this victory, it will put the defenders back on their toes. We are going to be seeing the round successful, and we're going to need a one single more round for the side of, I believe it is cLaw, if they want to equalize. And I think they've got a great opportunity. Though, as we head down to dining, taking a look at this setup is going to be extremely telling whether or not they've got the necessary abilities to be able to stall out their push. And I love when we see this bomb site, the pulse, to come out. The intelligence that he can provide you on positions of the defenders, especially in areas like on the top floor and master bedroom for those awesome nitro cell kills we see come out oh so often, as well as of any players inside of the dining room, or rather inside of pantry on the bottom of the staircase. Another great thing there.
You know, my co-caster Matt and I, we have a saying when it comes to strategy. It's called Nitro Cell Bonanza, and that's exactly what we're going to see. We're going to see 3 Nitro Cells. Now, technically, Nitro Cell Bonanza requires all 5, but it's close enough, and I'll just pay homage to my co-casters, actually our producer this evening, so big shout out to Matt. But Stickle, I actually have a question for you, and it looks like we're seeing an attacker-sided Villa. Do you think that's being stemmed by the fact that Ayana is providing so much information to the attacking lineups?
I could definitely see that, honestly, as what's helping them get so much leverage, but I think it also really has to do with the fact that we see the Goyo ban. Goyo provides a ton of utility for the defense and slowing down the attackers, and if you take a look at that, slowing down the attackers is one of the most crucial factors that the defense has to deal with. If you're able to stall out the push, well, frankly, you can't get enough control in order to win a round. And so, seeing him off the board here, especially on a map like Villa, where it's really been the proving grounds for him as he's been released and moving forward, I think is going to be really the answer to your question as far as why we're seeing the attackers so successful.
And to build upon that point just a little more, Ayana brings a set of frag grenades as well as a set of smoke grenades. And when you find yourselves in a utility consumption meta, now Goyo again is banned as you mentioned, so you have less utility to deal with, but there's still a lot to do. You can bring an operator that gives you exact information as well as frag grenades. It's so important. And that's, again, one of the most important things to Siege is the fact that you can bring tons of information, and you can see that in play right now. You can get direct pings both by gunshots as well as your sights, so they know there's a player sitting on washes, but it's not going to matter when Derek just finds one, and that's going to be your main fragger off the board. And all those flashbangs as well as those breaching launchers will no longer be a clear factor with 70 seconds remaining.
Yeah, as soon as we've got the top control here for the offense, I think they're going to have a little bit of an easier time, though it doesn't exactly seem like they're attempting that, and it could be a little bit of a misplay that might result in cLaw having an easier time. Though the Yana charges in, she gets one, and the Pulse almost able to find one on the fadeaway, though Raimai able to find one of his own, Niccolo with one of his own, Raimai with a second one, a double kill there. Troll team, they close out round number, I believe we're on number 8 here moving forward, and what an awesome job on the flank there coming up to close things out. And as we head into number 9, Troll team, they've got 5 rounds, and so they need one more to put themselves on match point, and the ability to get onto match point and to have all of that pressure, the momentum in your favor, I think is definitely going to help them out.
And that's one thing that's very interesting. We see Baited on the Nomad for all of their attacking half, and it's interesting that it's not providing enough information. And one thing that I was talking about why Ayana is such a good operator, it relies and it allows you as an attacker to put more drones on flank watch because you can actually use her holograms for traditional droning. So where is this information coming in? How are you being so exposed to flanks? And especially when you hear players dropping down into jungle. That's a very loud audio cue. And it just looked like the attackers were just rushing themselves. We talk about running through your mental checklist, and that's dealing with the roamers, that's dealing with utility consumption, but it also comes down to your final execute. And you can't just be sprint challenging it like that. If you have information, that's one thing, but just challenge appropriately. And when you don't, you can just make small mistakes and find yourself rushing. And again, what we talked about in the previous game is 20 seconds is more than enough time to execute. So it's on you as an IGL just to take a nice deep breath, calm your players down, communicate, coordinate, and execute.
So I have a question. Do you think, or what do you think cLaw needs in order to make a significant comeback here and have a possibility of taking this one?
It looks looks like they're playing as individual players. They're playing together. I'll give them that. They're abiding by the refrag rule, but it just doesn't look like they're communicating. And what I mean by that is when we saw Iona of China just run into sight, he came through China, he came through Washington, and then he dies, and there is no instant refrag. He needs to communicate that position because that's the perfect opportunity to grab a refrag, especially with the UMP that pretty much mag dumped already. It's really little things. It's nothing big. cLaw's a phenomenal team. They know how to play well. They just need to do exactly that. Utilize your utility to push a player out of a stronghold. If they do more plays exactly like that, they can find themselves actually starting to win more rounds.
Yeah, and I could definitely agree with that. We'll have to wait and see, though, if they will be successful. They start off well here. Looks like the mute goes down early, and he's kind of had a couple of maybe issues dying early. We haven't seen any huge plays for him so far in this match, and I think once he begins to heat up, I mean, Troll Team, they're already doing decent already. If he begins to fire off on all cylinders, we could see Troll Team very easily close this one out here. But taking a look at the here and now, we've got presence from the offense inside of the closet. They look to try and take bathroom control, or possibly even inside of Master itself, but it'll just be kind of the waiting game here and now, holding all of these angles in an attempt to snuff out any defensive sneak plays. Bait will find another one, shutting down cLaw, one of the top performers for this team. That is going to be an incredible boost of momentum in cLaw. I think they could take one here. Though the angle, no, Raimai hitting 13. He will get one, though cut down. The trade game, it looks like the Castle dropped the hatch and killed somebody mid-air. But with that happening, Castle off the site leaves it incredibly vulnerable. The objective could fall under control to Troll Team incredibly quick here. And if they're able to kill Alibi while the Castle is still rotating, I think this is going to be an incredibly attacker-sided round in the flush. I'll give it to you.
And it looks like the attackers have now become the defenders, as the entire defensive lineup is completely off-site. It's going to be a post-plant momentarily as missed shots by both these players. It's a potato fest, and it's going to be the Karos winning that out. Only 6 bullets, but it does the job where you can find one, but it's now a 2v1 as it's only last name Taylor with just 10 HP. He's just trying to get these quick peeks in, but it's not going to matter when you have a player holding deep with an ACOG, and it's going to be cLaw Central clawing themselves back. They did exactly what we asked them to do, playing together as a team, and they snuffed out Troll Team 6.
Yeah, so, I mean, cLaw, they say we're not out of this yet, and the differential on rounds is not exactly impossible to get back here. As long as they can keep Troll Team from getting to match point, they can very easily get these next couple of rounds and put themselves in a position to take it themselves. And I imagine we've seen kind of Troll Team, they've been sort of on a streak in some of these rounds. Notably, if you take a look at it when they were on the attacking side, they were able to take the first 3 and then ended the half with a victory on round number 6. But after that, and after the side switch, it's really been a back and forth contest. No winner, nobody has really pulled out into the lead, and so we're really just going to have to break down that storyline here and tell what is really going to be the... Where am I going with this? What is really going to be the end of things here? We're only got, 3 rounds left, and so there's not a whole lot of room for mistakes for either of these teams. A couple of slip-ups on either side could give us a draw, and so the teams are going to have to kind of work together to not end this in a 6-6 tie, but we'll just wait and see so far. 5-4 Troll Team with this AVG setup. I think they've got a great chance in order to win here.
It's all going to come off the backs of cLaw Central. cLaw Central will be dictating the pace for the potential next 3 rounds, if indeed we see 3 rounds. Because we've seen this back and forth between where they're almost hyper-aggressive, and I honestly think it comes down to, dare I call it, mental fortitude, where it seems like they get in their own head, especially when well, who cares about mental fortitude when you can just shut down Daddy Derek as he attempts to get really aggressive here and walk in closet. And that's exactly what cLaw Central needs, is they need to get opening picks like this. And Troll Team 6 has been constantly getting more and more aggressive, and being punished for it. There's two types of aggression. There's, what I want to call positive aggression, where you're actually getting kills, where you're actually wasting time, or your negative aggression, where you're putting yourselves on islands, your micro positioning isn't what it should be, and you're getting kills for free. Now, I know Derek was trying to bait himself in closet, not get droned out, but that's a really common place to be.
Yeah, and that sort of reminds me that we're kind of winding down here closer to the execute of what happened to Thunder on the defense when he was Maestro sitting in Astro and just got cut down because they were pushing up early. The Ash really, it looks like, wants to make an aggressive play, though she's sort of getting denied. We've got smoke canisters blocking her entryway into Aviator. And what that's going to do is allow the defense a little bit more time to cool off and come up with a plan. We've still got 4 players left to the 5-4 cLaw, so it's not incredibly sided to either team. And I think if we see the refrag come out, this is going to end in a real bloodbath. A 4-on-4 with 1:20 on the bomb site would be a real, let's not say that word. It could be a chaotic situation. Let's just go with that.
We're going to call it a CF. How about that? That's good enough for us.
That works.
Anyways, back to the game, and you can see Zofia utilizing her utility perfectly on the 90. And that bulletproof cam is too dangerous to melee, so you have to utilize that utility because of exactly this. There's going to be 2 big peaks coming out, but both of them failing as KRI shuts down that aggression. And it's going to be a 3rd peak.
Oh, the quad!
Find itself on a quad. Will it be a successful round? It's a 1v4, and well, it's going to be Namer finding himself 1 kill, but he's gonna get air jabbed to oblivion.
The ace! The ace!
As he does a wonderful job, the defense just presents themselves with random picks. Like, what happened there? Like, why did you have 4 players peek 1 individual through 90? The world may never know.
Oh my lord, that was crazy. Zofia, she was in a great position. I mean, you mentioned the positioning from the defenders. It raises so many question marks in my head, but I mean, Troll Team, they were given an opportunity. Zofia, she collected on it, taking down all 5 of the defenders. I mentioned it was going to be a CF, and that's exactly what it was.
You know, it's funny, back when I was coaching water polo, we had a play called a CF. Obviously, we said something very different about it, and it was just a very unique play. It required a lot of communication, a lot of coordination, and it was designed purely to throw off our opponents. And maybe that was the idea that Troll Team 6 was utilizing. They're trying to do a CF to throw off cLaw with their hyper aggression. But that's the thing. cLaw has gunners, and they have good reaction time. They've been playing aim labs, they've been playing Tion, it's very apparent, and they're going to punish that type of aggression. So maybe trying to do outside the box thinking like that, purely off aggression, maybe isn't the strategy that Troll Team 6 should be utilizing. But they're going to be attempting to go down to the kitchen site. And I don't think we're going to see a cLaw rush like Troll Team did, but hey, maybe they're still going to rush. Maybe they'll throw us through the loop. Honestly, we're going to see all 12 rounds, and all 10 rounds previously have been absolutely bananas, so I'm expecting the same thing here in round number 11 as well as 12.
5 seconds.
So I've got a couple of quick fire questions for you here. What do you think is the strongest advantage that Troll Team can use to close this round out? And then what do you think is the same for cLaw?
Honestly, for both teams, it's going to come down to your communication. We can obviously see that they're good gunners. They're good with their gunfights. They just have to put themselves in the proper positioning. I'm going to use a term called micro positioning, and that's where you are in a particular room. And that could dictate how you win or how you lose a gunfight. So, for example, Taylor's sitting right here on Jukebox. If he moves over to his left, he might find himself in a more advantageous to win a gunfight compared if he moves himself to the right. So that's what I mean. And that's honestly what's going to come down to. Very tiny, minute details. Or it might just come down to Flaunson rushing through pantry stairs. Who knows?
Yeah, we've got, again, this position inside of pantry, trying to be played aggressively. Nemorphous tries to swing here, but he's actually going to take a lot of damage, and that's not going to help him improve his situation at all. He's got a shotgun, though, and so that could falls down the hat. That could really cause a lot of problems quickly. cLaw opens things up here, though. It'll be 2 coming out from Jayco. It's a double for him. He's in the bomb site with no reaction, seemingly, from the defenders. cLaw on a double kill. He swings in. He gets another one. Jayco on a triple kill, though. Shut down Derek and the side of Troll Team. What even happened in that round? Chaos and a CF across the bomb site as they completely swamp it there. The defenders, Derek, I have to give it to him on that round. The Castle working together with cLaw on Namazi. They take a round that didn't look good, an aggressive rush, and they shut things down, turn it around, and get onto the match point.
And that's the most unique thing. It looked like Troll Team 6 got aggressive, but the aggression coming out from Namoris was purely based on baiting the attackers into rushing Pantry. It was brilliant, or maybe it wasn't that complicated, and he was just trying to swing aggressively with M590 to get a kill. It's hard to tell, but the one thing that Troll Team 6 definitely did well was they fell back, they baited the attackers of cLaw into a false sense of security, and then they completely crash back on the site. And we're going to keep utilizing water polo terminologies, but the crash was very aggressive, and we just saw all the bodies of the attackers instantaneously fall. And that's what it's coming down to. Again, both these teams can show that they can collect heads, but how do you click heads when a strategy begins to unfold? Actually, when a strategy begins to segregate. I think that's going to be the team that wins this round. So, will we find ourselves winning round number 12 if you're a cLaw Central fan, or will Troll Team 6 take it and grab all 3 points? 3 minutes to find out, and no better time to finding out than right now.
I think, in a way to answer that question, we're going to have to begin with how the attackers are able to take control of the bomb site. Trying to go for that same repeat play, pushing in through master bedroom, even, you know, with this similar strategy we've been seeing the master bedroom extension, I think they're going to really just have to focus on doing something that Troll Team doesn't expect. Because in that last round, even with the unexpected play, it seemed like they were on top of it. So maybe I'm wrong there. Maybe what they need to do is come up with a very solid, stratted out, you know, consistent plan. Oh no, is this the run out? Does he have an 11 punched, or is he just sitting in the rotate? I think he's just waiting there, so no explosive play coming out just yet, other than the breaching charge placed on that castle barricade. And we're still just going to be waiting. Look at this. We've got everybody just laying down here outside the window. Oh my god! The flashbangs coming into that room, and the grenade as well. Flonson with 1 on the R4C. Jayco with 1 as well. And was that a wallbang through the barricade? What a shot. Wouldn't exactly catch that one, but I'm sure Flonson will be clipping it and sending it to the highlight reel. Troll Team 6, the unexpected play. 9 flashbangs and a single frag fly into the closet. And what can you do to stop that?
I mean, even when you're a, well, warden, you can't even get rid of all that utility because you're just going to fire a frag grenade to the mouth. And speaking of getting taken things to the mouth, it's me, KRY, punishing one of the players. It's now 1v5. Oh no, everything's gone. And it's going to be cLaw Central winning it out. What just happened this round? Everything is gone. Discombobulation around and an impeccable headshot at the end. I don't know what Jaeger was doing there, but, well, the CF has been the motif for the day, and it's going to be a tie. We've seen 12 rounds brought in game number 5 and in game number 6.
Yeah, what a better way to end it there at a tie. I had a feeling, I mean, during the earlier phases of the game, it seemed like Troll Team, well, actually, I mean, you talked about it in the first 3 rounds. Even though they were all in favor of Troll Team, they were incredibly close. So maybe I'm kind of underestimating how close that whole match was, but ultimately, as we end it there, a flawless round is nothing close by any marker, and a smart play to just absolutely clear that player inside of the walk-in closet. He had no chance to get anything out of that, and just going down immediately. We will end it at a 6-6 tie. What a game.
Wow, again, I'm lost. I'm truly speechless for that final push. That was perfect communication and coordination coming from cLaw Central. We talked about if they wanted to succeed, if they wanted to win or tie, they had to work on their communication. They listened to us, and they did exactly that. And I think it's kind of on the back that Troll Team 6 just became a little bit too aggressive. I don't know if they got complacent with their lead, if they got too comfortable with their lead, or something that we were talking about earlier on is mental fortitude. is the fact that they just got tired. Maybe they just weren't used, or maybe they just kind of gave up. And that's one of the most important things is you can never give up until the bitter end. And that's exactly what cLaw Central did. And if you're not familiar with SCL, we do not interview if there is a tie. So sadly, in game number 6 of week 1, we will not have that interview, even though there's a player sitting in the interview.
Yeah, I was about to say. Well, yeah, anyway, ending things out there. 6-6 tie to quickly roll back the clock and sort of reverse things. We saw in our earlier match, it was incredibly close, just the same as Troll Team versus cLaw Central. It was a 7-5 victory through the whole time in Oregon. Allen and Team Front, they were neck and neck, and they seemed like they really just had their throats against each other the entire time and were never really able to pull ahead of each other, though we did see ultimately the victory come out there, so a little bit less than, a just simple tie. Looking back even further, our first match of the week, Unreal Nightmare versus In Control, was rescheduled, so we'll see that in the very early part of our next broadcasting play week. Following that, second match of day 1 was Akara Gaming versus Homeland Academy. It was another close one. It seems like this whole week we've seen either ties or 7-5s, and taking a look at the data, that's exactly the truth. Homeland, though, they were able to inch it out over Akara, taking a 7-5. I believe that one was on Clubhouse, looking at my notes. The next match was on day number 2. We saw Unreal Academy versus Prism Esports Academy, another super close matchup. I believe that one was on, if my notes are true. That was a great matchup. And Unreal, we talked about them. They're going to look out for, and so is Prism, both incredibly strong teams. And then the other matchup, play day number 2, Tactical Banditry versus Powerhouse. Unfortunately, that went on without a broadcast. We had a couple of issues with production, though we're going to be seeking to fix those as we move into our next week of play. It was a 7-5 Tactical Banditry winning over Powerhouse. That about wraps things up. You heard us talking about those other 2 matches that we had today, and a couple of great ones to show on stream. I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in and showing up to our stream. We'll be hoping to make everything come alive and have no issues next week for our broadcast. I look forward to seeing everyone tune in, and have a good night.